Hello, listeners. Welcome to Blood, Sweat, and Tears, the podcast where we find a topic and fit its components into a tier list. In today's episode, we'll be creating a video game tier list. I'm your host, Luke Webster. Joining me today is Colton Steudler, a strategic communications major here at Edinboro. Colton and I are in the radio program together, and he also hosts a radio show called the Jumpin Jukebox. Thanks for coming on the show, man.
Thanks for having me on the show, Luke.
Absolutely. Now, I forgot to mention this before we started, but do you have maybe a good small talk segment or a small talk thing to bring up? Maybe a fun question?
Well, not exactly, but would you mind if I give my own little quick backstory with how I got associated with video games?
Yeah, go for it.
Alrighty. So I was officially introduced to video games around the age of like 9 or 10 when my family bought me and not my kids, but my siblings, a Nintendo Wii, which is crazy to think about because it's technically considered a retro console now.
Yeah. That is, I feel old now.
So I was quickly introduced to Super Mario Galaxy 2, Disney's Epic Mickey, a lot of great titles on the Nintendo Wii. And then eventually I moved on to the Nintendo 3DS. And that's where I found a love of the 3DS titles there, such as Luigi's Mansion, Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney, and also Shovel Knight. And then eventually, come lockdown of 2020, I was a bit familiar with playing PlayStation games, but I did not have a PlayStation myself.
Right.
So I went out in April-ish of 2020, bought myself a PlayStation 4, and began my love for trophy hunting.
Oh, yeah. Getting all the achievements.
Yes,
100%
sir.
In the game.
Yes, sir. And I currently now own a PlayStation 5.
Oh, lucky.
And it has
found one.
So exactly. And I have been having so much fun with it recently. So yeah, that's a little bit of where I'm at with that's where I'm at with video games in general. I have dabbled a bit here and there with some Xbox titles, but I love games, man.
That's a good conversation piece. I'm gonna do my little backstory now. I like that. That was a good idea. So I think like the first games that I ever played were probably the old plug in the TV games. You remember like the three the I don't remember what those cords are called, but the red, white, and yellow
plug and play. I think that's what they're called.
And there was like the old hunting game. You give you the little gun and you like almost like the big buck arcade games.
Yep.
At the bowling
I know exactly
alley.
what you're talking about.
So there's that. We had one that was like all the Namco games. So like Pac-Man and Galaga. Mappy and Dig Dug.
Yep.
So like all those. I think those were some of the first games I ever played were the plug and play stuff. And it was so much fun.
Agreed.
And my two older brothers would bring over their PlayStation 2 whenever they'd come over for the weekend. And like I'd get to do some of that. We were big into hunting games in my family, like the Activision hunting games. They have Dangerous Hunts and Big Game Hunter. Those were so much fun and like really nostalgic. I even play a few hunting games now. I'm a hunter, in real life. So I guess it's fun to have like a game to play that's kind of like that. But I think the first like thing I got that was my own was a DS Lite. Then I had the DSi. We had a Wii at some point. I played so much Wii, all the games on there. Then I got an Xbox 360, an Xbox One, and I have the newest Xbox, the Series X. Yeah. I like games as well. I've been playing like pretty much a lot of the newer titles and all the multiplayer competitive games. But yeah.
And that's great because I prefer a lot of single player open world stuff as well as some indie titles here and there in the mix. And I'm quite the fan of horror titles as well.
Oh, yeah.
So
there's some fun horror games out there. And that's kind of nice that you kind of have that side of the spectrum of video games and I kind of have like the multiplayer side. So we have a lot of ground that we can cover and have good opinions of going into it. Yeah.
Let's do it then.
Without further ado. So we're going to do things a little bit different today. We usually do one big tier list, but if you guys even knew how many video games there are, oh my gosh, you would lose your socks. There are so many video games. So we decided to divide it up into Nintendo franchises, which will be one own separate tier list. We have the Call of Duty games. We have a Battle Royale tier list and also mobile games. We're leaving room to possibly do a part 2 with other genres of games in the future because there are just simply so many games, and it would be so hard to put them all into one episode.
As well as our own independent picks as well.
Yes, that will be probably towards the end, I'm thinking. For our listeners at home, our tiers are ranked from S, which is the best. Then we have A, B, C, D, and F, which is the worst. So without further ado, we'll begin with the Nintendo franchises tier list. In no particular order. Maybe it's alphabetized. Maybe it's not. I don't know. But Animal Crossing is our first one. It was a big game on the Switch.
Mm-hmm. Especially when everybody was back down in lockdown.
Oh my gosh, yes. Was it like Doom and Animal Crossing released at the same time?
It was Animal Crossing, New Horizons, and Doom Eternal was the two biggest ones at the time.
It was like the perfect time for everything to release. Like lockdown had just started and all people were grinding Animal Crossing.
Mm-hmm.
Now my sister has a Switch, so I've seen gameplay here and there. I've watched people play it on like streaming and whatnot. But I haven't done a lot of playing myself, but I've heard it's very good.
Mm-hmm. So as one who has played Animal Crossing New Leaf, which was released for the Nintendo 3DS systems,
nice.
I've really enjoyed it. I think it's a perfect game for busy folks. So you can sit down with it maybe 1 or 2 hours a day. You can just plant your trees or plant your flowers and go say hi to your villagers and such. And it definitely rewards you, and also it's all dependent on the social interactions that you have with these characters, and is how much time you put into said characters and your town as well. So again, it's good for busy people, but if you're really looking forward for just like, again, it could be like whether you're trying to collect all the furniture or you're trying to like make the best town, it can be quite a bit of a grind.
It sounds like a grind game now that you've kind of explained it a bit. What do you think as far as putting it into a tier?
I think maybe I could place it as B, or I would say like a high B, maybe a low A, but that's generally where I would put it around.
From what I've seen, it looks entertaining, and it almost gives me like a Minecraft vibe in that like the way you spend your time on it. Like there's a lot of things you can do, like endless. Is there a way to like complete the game, or do you just endlessly level up and...
You're just kind of endlessly doing taking care of your town, remodeling your town, collecting furniture for both your friends and for yourself, as well as going out and catching fish, bugs, and just doing all sorts of that.
Okay. So yeah, almost like a Minecraft vibe. Like you can play it over and over and over and over, and there's not really like a end game per se.
I would say instead of going over and over, it's just like one long extended save file that you're on. But again, it's still nice for folks who just want to just have a nice, relaxing, cozy kind of game, but they still want to work for that stuff.
Okay. I like what you said for B. I like the B argument.
Let's put it in B.
Put it in B. Up next is Donkey Kong. Thinking back to the old original box arcade Donkey Kong. Oh man, pretty decent games. It wasn't always my first choice when it came to Nintendo, but I thought they were fun.
I know Donkey Kong Island, or Country Island, I think it's called, is one of the mainstays that people love to go back to, as well as the more recent titles as well, like Tropical Freeze. Couple others I'm not thinking of off the top of my head, but I know for a fact that the music slaps.
Oh yeah,
like
it does.
Like you can instantly tell what the Donkey Kong theme is right off from the drums, as well as just the banana.
It's catchy.
It's so catchy.
You could probably just go and listen to the soundtrack and just like it just for the soundtrack.
Exactly.
Yeah. I'm not really sure where to put it in a tier, but I mean, there were definitely ones in Nintendo that I enjoyed a lot more than this personally. So I don't know what you're feeling for this.
I would say that since I'm also one who hasn't played much of the Donkey Kong series, I would say maybe putting it in a C tier.
Yeah.
I would like to put it in a B. If I had played some of the titles, I would definitely put it in the B tier. But I would say just for safety's sake, let's put it in C.
I think C is fair as well. Up next is Dr. Mario. I don't know if I've played any of it, so this one's all you.
Same here. I really haven't played much of this, and all I really know is it's more of a puzzle game at its best.
Yeah.
So
okay,
probably either D or F.
I'll go with D just to give it the benefit of the doubt since I don't know much about it.
That's fair.
The next two are also yours as well.
Alrighty, so the next one we have up is Fire Emblem. So this one's a bit difficult for me as well because I really haven't played much of it, but I know it is it's like a Japanese strategy game. And in the best way that I can put it, there was a very strange tweet, and I'll try and keep it as simple as possible, but basically how this tweet described Fire Emblem was, it's like chess, but you want to have sex with all the chess pieces. So yeah, you can make your own assumptions with that as well, but I would say for the most part, for its long staying career, I would maybe put it in D or C. So a little unsure about that one, but
I wasn't expecting that to be where that would go, but I'll take it.
So the next one we have is Kid Icarus, and although this franchise has really had only 2 titles, it's where Kid Icarus Uprising is where this game really shines. It was originally released for the Nintendo 3DS, but it had snappy and funny writing, really fun combat, which went from a phase of flying in the air to on the ground combat to the next right into a boss battle. And that's for every single level, including a few that were transitioning certain points in the story, I believe. It's been a hot minute since I played it, but I just absolutely loved it for its replayability and, again, for its story as well. They even had a bit of a multiplayer function as well, which was very interesting. It could be, you could play it as a free-for-all or as a 3v3. And again, that was a lot of fun with there if you were able to play on the internet with your 3DS. But again, overall, I think it's an underrated title. I would say for its predecessor, Kid Icarus was just a simple retro 2D game. So not much known or is talked or played about it. But again, I say Kid Icarus Uprising is where it really shines. And I quite wish that they would make more of this, which I will say I would love to put it in A tier, but I'm going to have to say B tier for the lack of games.
Before we started, when you showed me the trailer for Uprising, I loved it, and I loved the variety of gameplay, like how there's a boss fight, the air stuff and the ground stuff, like just how it's not all one thing is cool to me. And the boss battles just looked awesome. It kind of reminded me of like Monster Hunter and maybe like the Souls games.
And not to mention with the replayability with the levels is that you can increase the difficulty, but only do so depending on how much of the in-game currency you've earned, as well as gaining new weapons that are stronger in the higher difficulties. With a variety, and that's another addition to the replayability was the weapons. You had clubs, swords, claws, and even like just giant drill hands. Like there were all these different variations of these weapons that made it so fascinating that you want to come back to it.
Well, I like how you mentioned the replayability, because how many games do you know that like have that in them? And especially for like an older, dare I say, retro kind of game, like I like that. I like games that you can go back on. So we're decided on B for Kid Icarus?
Yep, let's keep it at B. Again, I would love to put it at A, but I really think what's keeping it from being A material is the lack of games. If it had maybe one more, then I would argue, yeah, let's throw it in A. But for now, I'd like to keep it at a solid B.
All right, that's fair. Up next is Kirby.
Kirby.
How many Kirby games are there? Are there like a lot or just a few?
Well, from what we saw originally, we were looking at a previous tier list of all the Nintendo games. There was quite the amount of games on there. But I will say, I definitely saw a lot of Kirby titles that caught my eye, as well as a recent one that just came out a couple of months ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I haven't seen a lot of Nintendo's newest releases because I don't have a console to play Nintendo games on.
Yeah, the recent one, the recent single player Kirby game was called Kirby and the Forgotten Land. And then it saw Kirby not only gain new powers, but also the ability to devour rare non-sentient items such as cars, traffic cones, and even like what looked like a giant tire or a giant hoop. It's a little weird, but they also came out with one called, I believe, Kirby Buffet Royale, which essentially was just, it's how much cake or strawberries can one Kirby eat. So it's pretty fun.
What would you rate the whole franchise? I think I probably played one out of all the Kirby games. Whatever one was on one of the DSs. I mean, it was probably all of them, but I think I played it on my DSi, and I mean, I thought it was fun. I thought it was pretty good. I don't remember much about it because I was pretty young, but I just remembered it was good.
I will say for Kirby, I think the big things that help him is one, his funny little, just how he looks. You can just instantly recognize he's a pink ball with red little feet, and you can just see him right off the bat. Like, there he is. That's Kirby. Also, the music is pretty banging as well.
Oh my gosh, the
like,
Kirby music.
You got to give credit to the music. And interestingly enough, if you want to go down a 3 a.m. YouTube rabbit hole, just look up Kirby lore.
Oh,
this
dear.
is the most insane thing, because then, spoiler alert, Kirby is an actual god.
Oh.
Not even a god. He's a cosmic entity that eats gods for breakfast.
I mean, there's really isn't anything he can't consume, I guess. So,
exactly.
Yeah.
So I would dare say I would place this in the high A tier, or even just peeking into the S tier.
Okay. I like high A.
Let's make it a high A for Kirby.
Up next is Luigi's Mansion. Dude, ooh. I love these games.
Yes.
These are so good. They had a newer one that came out for the Switch not all that long ago, and I loved it.
Luigi's Mansion 3.
Yeah, is that the one that was on the Switch?
Yes, it is.
I loved it. I've always liked the Luigi's Mansion games, and there's like, it's not that scary, but there's an element of horror, and they try to jump scare you a little bit. It's a very unique game.
It's the tension that builds within those moments where you're like, okay, I just saw something fly across the screen, and I know that I saw it. I don't know if Luigi saw it, but I know he gonna get spooked here in a bit.
He gonna get spooked.
But I quite love the Luigi's Mansion series. Like, I remember playing the Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon, or otherwise known as Luigi's Mansion 2 for the 3DS on there. And again, I had a blast with that. And that's actually where they first introduced their multiplayer aspect with the Scare Scraper, where you would team up with team up with 1 to 3 folks, and you would go and climb either a set amount of stairs or endless floors, excuse me, in the Scare Scraper, trying to catch all these special ghosts as well as complete certain objectives on each floor.
I like the newest one on the Switch is probably the one I just remember the most because, like I said, my sister has a Switch and she had it, and I was like, yo, can I play it? And I played it, and I don't remember how far I got into it, but it was so much fun. I loved how it's like a puzzle game. And I don't remember if the older ones were very puzzly, but just like having to like think on your feet, think of a new way, think of a way to beat the boss or whatever. But man, Luigi's Mansion is good. I like A tier, at least A tier.
I will say A tier for Luigi's Mansion. Yeah. It's a lot of fun. Again, it went from a singular mansion that you were walking around in to 5 different mansions that you had to explore to a whole hotel with all these floors and all these ghosts for each floor that it was themed on. It's just so cool to see. So let's put Luigi's Mansion in A tier.
I like A tier. Up next is Mario Kart.
Ooh.
Brother. I love Mario Kart. This is probably going to be an S tier for me. Out of all the Nintendo stuff, I have so many memories with this. And just being at parties and get-togethers with friends, being like 10 years old and playing Mario Kart on the Wii. Oh my gosh, it's so much fun. Like, love Mario Kart.
I think you said it best, Luke. It's just where you get together with your friends or family and you just duke it out in Mario Kart, whether it's just a regular Grand Prix or you're doing the coin battles or the balloon battles.
Oh my gosh.
It's a lot of fun. Or if you're even playing online against folks.
Oh yeah.
That's a huge thing nowadays.
The multiplayer,
And even watching a lot of YouTubers out these days that play Mario Kart and they either get frustrated or they have fun or they even trip up their friends. Again, it's just that fun aspect that like Nintendo does so well, and they just injected a whole bunch of it into Mario Kart. So I definitely would agree that Mario Kart gotta get up there on S tier.
I love it. Yeah. My girlfriend still has the Nintendo Wii, and she has Mario Kart. She beats me every time. She's really good at Mario Kart. I stink at it. I can't beat her. Oh my gosh, it's so much fun though. So many good memories. hours on hours playing Mario Kart, and that's one that like anybody in your family could play. And it's like, this is stop, this is go. You tilt the Wii controller to go left and right. And especially Mario Kart on the Switch is awesome. And if you have multiple controllers, hand them to your friends. You just tilt your controller and it's so much fun. Love Mario Kart. Up next is Mario Party. Dude, another good one.
Another
really good one. I remember playing multiplayer on the DS, like the close, I don't remember what you call it, but like where you could basically play with Bluetooth with a friend. On
I know exactly what you're talking about. I can't think of the exact term, but
also that technology was genius for its time. Being able to play multiplayer offline by just being in the same proximity as somebody.
Heck yeah.
That's the best. What, I can't do that now. They need to come up with more stuff like that. Like being able to do that was awesome, especially when internet was kind of poopy in the early 2000s growing up.
Yeah. But no, I agree with Mario Party. You can have so much fun with it, and you're just rolling in the stars. But you can also have the worst time with it because the RNG gods can either bless you or just throw you down into the valley of life and death, mostly death.
All the mini games are so much fun. And
yes,
there's one I liked a lot. I think it was called Camera Shy. It was almost like a battle royale. You're all holding a camera, and the way you get a kill or whatever is by getting a picture of someone else.
I remember that one.
That one was one of my favorites. There's one with like a flower, and you're like doing the he loves me not thing. Whatever one that was for the DS was so much fun.
It was so much fun.
Yeah. That's another good one. That's like at least A for me.
I would say A as well. I think one of the only things keeping it from S is it could end up ruining a lot of family relationships or just regular friendships. So, but it's still pretty funny though.
It is fun. Another just like Mario Kart and Mario Party, just like things you can have multiple people play and have fun. So A tier for Mario Party. Another good one is Super Mario.
Oh,
dude. Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh.
I remember. I think my favorite one will be the one that came out for the DS. It was New Super Mario Bros. At the time. Just that one. It had like 9 worlds. You beat Bowser a few times. Man, that was a good one. I remember that. I could play it through right now without even hesitating.
And like you mentioned as well before, with the technology they had with the DS, with the Bluetooth, you could just basically run against each other with co-op.
Yeah. With
Mario versus Luigi. I remember that was one of the best ones. That was
so much fun too.
Because I remember getting stomped at it back in like the 5th or 6th grade when I would play against this one girl that I liked. And she would just absolutely destroy me. But then I played against my little brother, and I would just stomp him with that. Oh, it was so much fun.
What I like about Super Mario is you can have a lot of fun single player and multiplayer. And the Super Mario Bros. For Wii was another really good one.
Yes.
And it was hard. I remember being probably, I don't know, 12 or so years old and just challenged. It was challenging. I'd spent hours trying to beat one level at some point. But it's very good. I think this might be S for me. I don't know about you.
I would definitely say. I was just going to go into a little bit of the other Super Mario titles. Like you'd mentioned, Super Mario Bros. For the Wii. I actually remember 2 summers ago, a couple friends of ours where we were trying to beat Super Mario Brothers for the Wii before the summer went out because we were all working at the same job.
Yeah.
And we ended up at the final level at Bowser's Castle. And the 3 of us were staying up till like probably 10 or 11 p.m. And we made it to the checkpoint before you fight Bowser and before he becomes gigantic. And we just could not beat him.
Hard.
It was so hard.
It's difficult.
So then they said, my 2 friends said, all right, Colton, I'm going to bed. We're going to bed. You take a chance at it. And I said, all right, let's do it. So then when they dropped out, I had to start at the very beginning of the level. But on my first try, I beat that level.
Let's go.
Yes.
I remember like the hardest part was when you're basically doing parkour, running away from giant Bowser and the lava's below you. That's so
and then he would create waves as well as his fireballs would be there. It was
nightmare.
Really intense.
Gosh.
But just going into the other Super Mario Brothers titles really quick, Super Mario Galaxy 1 and 2.
Oh my gosh.
Fantastic titles.
Those alone are S tier. Those are Super Mario Galaxy might be the best game Nintendo has ever put out.
even the most recent, well, I wouldn't say most recent, but Super Mario Odyssey has been huge for the Switch. That has been like one of their mainstay games. And in fact, the reason that most folks would buy a Switch, unless you're buying it for like, I don't know, Luigi's Mansion.
Yeah.
But we already mentioned that one. But I would definitely have to say Super Mario has to be S tier.
Yeah, especially just the variety of games. They got Paper Mario. They had, I just remember all the Mario games coming out for DS growing up. And I was like, Mom, I want that one. I want that one. It was like all the Mario games are so much fun. Oh, yeah. These next 3 are all yours.
All righty.
Apparently, I'm not a big Nintendo guy for some of these. I'm a poser. So the next 3 are yours.
Thank you, Luke. So the next one we have coming up right now is Metroid. Now, Metroid, this actually was the originator of that fancy term that everybody hears, a Metroidvania, which is the mashup of Metroid and Castlevania, which, funny enough, isn't even on this tier list, but that's okay.
It's fine. Everything's fine.
Everything's fine. But Metroid was a mainstay because one of its intense gameplay from time to time, and that mostly comes from its boss battles, I would argue, but also from the times when it was able to create tension. Now, personally, I have not played a whole lot of Metroid titles, but just seeing, I believe it was just seeing the scene from, I believe, Super Metroid 2, when Samus is in a tunnel, and then you see on the screen a different, complete Samus patrolling the hallway that's right above you. It's so tense.
Yeah.
But it was so good because again, with the combat as well as just the exploration of that game, it was so tight, and again, it was so good. So I know they recently put out one, I think that for the Switch, which I really wish I could play at the moment, but that's because I don't have a Switch. But I would definitely say for Metroid being such a long stay, I would probably have to put it in either a low A tier or high B tier. I'd have to put it there.
Where would you like to put it officially?
That's pretty difficult. I would say for as many titles as it had, and as how much as it stuck to its formula and stuck to its guns overall, it would be a good A tier.
A tier it is.
Alrighty, and for our next franchise, Nintendo franchise, is Mother, which is the original Japanese franchise. Now, we've had a couple of them, Mother 1, 2, and 3, but it is better known by Earthbound, which is the JRPGs that is best known, where you basically play as a group of kids who travel the world and try to stop aliens from blowing up or taking over the earth.
Nice.
And actually has some pretty intense emotional moments as well, with sacrifice and forging bonds. The sad thing is, though, for whatever reason, and I know there's more reasons to it than just for whatever reason, but Mother 3 has still not been localized in the United States.
Oh, Japan only?
Yeah. It is a Japan only release. However, there have been mods and other folks who do look into it and take the time to play through Mother 3. So I would say, for as obscure as it may sound, I would definitely put this in B tier, because you would also see characters such as Ness and Lucas, who come from Earthbound, in Super Smash Brothers.
A lot of these characters and franchises are characters you can play as in the Super Smash.
Yeah. And now for the last one that I'll take care of is Pikmin. Now this one is also pretty interesting because it also has to deal with aliens, but sort of a cuter sort, because you play as an astronaut who crash lands on a different planet, but then is found by the friendly Pikmin, which you then use to help you rebuild your ship and get off the planet. Now, again, it's come out as there's, I believe, 4 titles now in the main game franchise, and I haven't really played any of them, but I know from what I would do, I think it's one of those games that I would definitely enjoy, because again, it's not only do you have to find and collect your ship parts, so it's a bit of a collection, but you're also on a bit of a time limit. Because if you don't get all your ship parts and you don't get off the planet, there is also the chance of getting a really bad ending. And you also get to fight these crazy, wicked, like large monsters. So with the Pikmin, obviously, sacrificing to save your life. But as for its mainstay and with the collection of games, I think I would place Pikmin in B tier, although it's not as popular as many folks would say. Same goes, again, I kind of mentioned it with Mother, but both Mother and Pikmin kind of, again, they've been a mainstay of Nintendo, but they just haven't been that popular. So,
that's
moving on to a
good.
more popular franchise.
Yeah, for sure.
Very popular franchise.
Pokemon.
Ooh.
Man, they're good, but may I say this might be controversial. They're all the same. And well, like, sure, there's probably new features, new Pokemon and such, but as far as the gameplay goes, I've heard they're all the same.
I know for a fact that they tried with Pokemon Legends Arceus, I believe is how you pronounce it.
Yeah.
They tried more of an open world approach to it.
Yeah.
But I think they were also trying to do more of a Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild type beat.
Okay.
But you still kept the same gameplay with gotta throw out a Pokemon. Oh, I gotta throw out a Pokeball to catch that Pokemon.
Yeah.
And then I catch him. Then I gotta train him and force him to fight in like 500 battles just so he can evolve into a slightly stronger Pokemon. But I would say because of how long it's been, and also the fact that Pokemon even got a movie as well.
A show.
Oh, yeah.
Card game.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of Pokemon stuff out there.
There's a lot of
very
Pokemon.
influential. I mean, it's solid. It's up there. When I was a kid, actually, I wasn't allowed to play it because there was that whole thing about how it went against Christianity and stuff and whatnot, and
translated as pocket monsters or pocket demons.
Yeah. So unfortunately, I didn't get to play it much as a kid, and then my parents were like, "Oh, we're sorry. You know, that was probably stupid anyway. We probably would have let you play it or something." But from what I know, and it's like, especially Pokemon Go, I got to play a lot of, and it was fun. I mean, I think it's got to be up there with I would imagine. Mm-hmm.
And I would argue that it's probably peaking in, if not S tier. But I would also, again, I think you make a pretty valid argument of like, it's kind of the same thing, and they've kind of stuck to their guns about it. And they've also been really weird where they're like, hey, here's Pokemon ketchup and Pokemon mustard. Yeah. Now you're going to get Pokemon relish next year, which is just the same game, but they include all the Pokemon and as well as like one or two new bigger ones. So,
and they just had the all the different colors. It was like Pokemon black and white, Pokemon this, Pokemon that. But yeah. So A tier for Pokemon?
Let's say A tier.
All right, we'll go with that. Punch Out I have also not done. Not played.
Punch Out's a little difficult because as well, I have not played it as before, but basically think of it as strategy boxing matches in a sense.
All right.
So, and again, they also lean really heavily into the racial stereotypes here and there. Like you do have an Indian man who is wearing a turban and is also a genie in a sense, and pulls off magic. There is also an Irish boxer, which basically breaks all of the rules in boxing when he basically swings a boxing glove with a brick inside of it as round. So not only does he do that, but he also puts horseshoes in his mitts, and he even uses discarded boxing gloves. So he is insane as well. And again, there's actually a really fun video on YouTube where a guy counts out all the infractions that all of the boxers made as well. No. And funny enough, the main character of Punch Out, Little Mac, actually commits his own infraction. He's not even 18. All these boxers who are grown men are fighting, I believe, is a 16 to 17-year-old boy.
He's a prodigy for his age. Oh my goodness.
So, but yeah, again, racial stereotypes aside, I know a lot of people really enjoy it, and it's quite the game, and it's surprising to see it stayed so long. But I would say because of its lack of games, I mean, not to say it's had a lack because they had a couple retro, but they also had one for the Wii that included a couple more boxers, as well as Donkey Kong that you could fight, which was crazy to think about. I would probably put Punch Out in either a low C tier or in the D tier. So,
well, I haven't touched on it at all, so it's all you.
I think I would probably have to put maybe in the D tier.
D tier?
Sorry, Punch Out, but you're just knocking out this one. Not knocking out this one. Apologies.
Another, we're going on the other side there, Super Smash Bros.
Ooh.
Oh, man. Especially with the new one. This is at least A, right? Like at least A even into S?
I would say A, but I also have to make a confession myself. I'm not a big fan of Super Smash Bros.
I haven't played a lot of it, but when I do, I have fun. Even though I am absolute garbage at it, it's fun. Yeah.
I would agree with that.
Fun,
I will say
fun party game.
Fun party game. I will say there is also, again, there's the joke of how if you walk into a Smash Brothers tournament, the whole room stinks. I don't know what it is with Smash Brother players and also soap, but apparently they don't like each other. But regardless of that, kind of a mean-spirited joke.
It's
I
like
think
the
Smash
Discord mod. The same, getting into the same thing there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I will say, though, I have to give credits for Super Smash Brothers Ultimate, I believe, is the newest one of this huge roster of characters.
They add a new one all the time.
Yeah. They actually are finished with adding new ones because they added the last one they added was Sora from Kingdom Hearts.
Oh, okay. Cool.
So, but I would definitely have to say, I would definitely put it in A or S tier. Like, again, who gets to see Mario punching the living daylights out of Sora while then also trying to avoid being blasted by Samus and then seeing Olimar throw his Pikmin
I like how they even have like the Wii Fit character in there.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's cool. And Snake is in there.
Yep,
Snake's Metal Gear Solid stuff. Yeah. Yeah, I like A. I think there's I don't know what it is, but I think something just keeps it out of S for me. But it's solid A. Good fun party game. Like, have your friends over if they have a Switch. Like, you guys are all gonna have a Super Smash tournament. Woohoo! You know.
I think one thing that might keep it from A, if I could go back to Mario Kart, is that you could pick just about any character and it'd say, "Hey, I'm gonna roll with him or her, and it'll be a lot of fun, and we'll go and fight against each other." But the thing not fight, but drive against each other.
Yeah.
But with Smash Brothers, there are some folks in the crowd that know I can main this character. Like, I am good with Link, or I am good with Little Mac, or I am good with Mega Man. It's always somebody who is good with that character, and then they just kind of ruin the fun. Yeah,
and they I think the problem is there's too much competition with Super Smash. Like, I'm thinking about like championships and professional play, but if I'm just thinking casual couch play with friends that have to keep hitting pause to memorize the moves every 2 seconds, then I feel like that's probably more fun. But if I tried to do it competitive, I'd probably hate it.
Yeah. See, I would love to have like a couple of characters that I like to play as, but picking one or two that is only that, and then knowing and analyzing every single attack pattern of all these other characters that you then have to make sure that your character doesn't get, it's a bit too much. So I would definitely agree. Let's put Super Smash Brothers in the A category.
I like A tier. Up next is Splatoon.
Ooh.
It's okay. It's like Nintendo's like, hey, we need to release a kid-friendly first-person shooter so that kids who are too young for Call of Duty can play. And now Fortnite takes that place. So I've played some of it. I just it's okay. That's kind of how I feel. I don't know if you have any differing opinions.
I don't know. I haven't really played it at all. And again, with the nature of a kid-friendly third-person shooter.
Or third person.
No, that's okay. Yeah. All good. But yeah, again, Fortnite kind of took that role away because it's free.
Yep.
But with Splatoon, you got to dole out some cash for the games. And admittedly, they haven't changed much.
Yeah.
I mean, they've had some, I would say, some solid campaigns, but it's not in the sense of an invigorating or amazing campaign as like Kirby or let's say Metroid or something. It's just kind of, hey, here's some challenges for you to do. And they can be as easy as like, oh, I can just breeze through this, or, oh, you took a breath. Now your life is forfeit.
Yep.
So I would probably have to put Splatoon in the C tier.
Yeah, I like C for that as well. Star Fox, man, I actually want to Google this real quick because, like, I swear I know what this looks like. Oh, yeah, okay. He's a character in Smash, right?
Yes, he is.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know if I've played this, but I at least know and recognize the cover.
Yeah, I believe the best way to describe Star Fox is like an on-rail shooter. Okay. And again, I really haven't played it, but they also haven't put out a lot of games. Like I thought their most recent was for the Wii U, which like barely anybody remembers what the Wii U is. But
it's a pointless console in my opinion. I don't know. That's
but I will give credit to it's again a lot of these, and I've said this for a lot of the franchises, but a lot of these franchises has some serious staying power regardless of their age. So if I had to place it anywhere, I think I might give Star Fox the C tier.
C tier? All right. WarioWare, I know kind of, but I don't have a lot of experience playing.
I would say it's kind of akin to the mini games of Rhythm Fever or Rhythm Heaven, but the thing is without the rhythm, and I think it's pretty fun. But at the same time, I also haven't played it that much. So I'm kind of deciding between D or C. Might throw it in as like a high D, maybe a C, but I'm kind of right there with you, Luke.
Okay. I'll give it the benefit of the doubt. Put it in low C.
Let's give it that.
All right. And then the Wario franchise.
Not sure about that.
Yeah. I don't know if I played any. I didn't even know it existed, if I'm being totally honest with you. So maybe we just don't even touch on this one and just, I don't know.
Let's leave it out.
Yeah,
I would say let's leave it out.
And
the same probably would be said for this one, Xenoblade Chronicles.
I haven't even heard of that.
Yeah, it's a little. I'm not sure about it either. I think it's also in the same vein of a JRPG. Okay. So, but again, I'm not too sure. It's not as like, I wouldn't say it's as strategy based as Fire Emblem is, but at the same time, Fire Emblem is in a whole different category for its manner of characters. But again, Xenoblade, I'm not too sure. I do know there's a few characters that pop in from Smash.
Okay.
But apart from that, I'm not really too sure about this one.
Okay. Because I don't know the first thing about it. Yoshi, though, man, that's another good soundtrack one. There's a lot of catchy tunes in there. I think I played one of the games and they were pretty fun. It was kind of like discount Super Mario, like same premise from what I remember.
Maybe put it in B tier or A tier because I'm not too sure about.
I like B for it. Like it's kind of average. Like it's not obscenely bad and it's not crazy good. Zelda, man, especially considering Breath of the Wild. I think
the
Breath
sequel.
Forgive me, I can't remember the name.
I'll look it up for you.
But if we're talking about just Breath of the Wild, I think Breath of the Wild is S tier. For the whole franchise, including like the older ones on the Wii, I just love the puzzle side of the game. Like it's good.
Yeah, it's called Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom.
Tears of the Kingdom. Okay. I don't know about you. I would like low as A, high as S for this.
So for me, I actually played Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time on the 3DS when it was remastered for that, and I had an absolute blast. Yeah. And then eventually, when I did get my hands on Breath of the Wild via a friend of mine, I had so much fun with it, I beat it in a summer. Now, that is to say, I beat Ganon within a whole summer. I did not go out and collect all 999 Korok seeds. That's a bit too much for me.
Yikes.
But for the most part, for what we're staying with, it was still so much fun. Because again, there is so much creativity and potential in it. And again, even seeing people speed run the game is
incredible.
Insane.
I love the puzzle side of the game as well. Like figuring out how to do things. Sometimes it's so challenging. You have to look up a YouTube walkthrough just to get past it. And yeah, they're fun.
The one that I still haven't played, but I would love to, and I know folks love to talk about this one, is Majora's Mask. I know that one is one of the best ones. So that involves Skull Kid and the funny little mask he wears. Yep, with the purple and red one with the yellow spikes on it. And essentially with that, you're trying to save a city from completely getting demolished by the moon, which is going to crash into the city in 3 days. But you also use a bit of a time mechanic, as well as going to the different factions and different areas of the map and using these other masks to help out those people.
All right.
So I would definitely have to say, from where it started in its humble beginnings as a 2D game and where it is now,
I like
it's got to be up there in the S tier.
All right, I like it. And then, did we say neither of us had played F-Zero?
Correct. Neither of us had played F-Zero. All we really know is that Captain Falcon comes from it. So,
good character. All right. Well, that concludes our Nintendo section.
Which ones are we doing again, Lou? What's the next tier?
So the next mini tier list will be the Call of Duty franchise. So we have all the way from the original Call of Duty, which I think came out in like 2000, maybe even
I'll take a look into that.
My final guess is 2002.
I'm gonna say 2001. That's not how you spell original.
As late as 2004.
2003.
Ah, okay. 2003, the original. Man, that's a long time ago. I think those were like PC. I think those were the only things it was out on was PC.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm correct, but I don't know for sure.
Hey, that's okay. We're just making the tier list.
Yeah, we are just making the tier list. All right, so we have the original Call of Duty. This may sound ignorant to people who are big fans of it, but I feel like Call of Duty 1, 2, and 3, just like the original ones, are very similar and just have updated graphics, updated weapons, updated maps. So I kind of would want to put all of these in one spot unless you have a different opinion.
I really don't, and I'm just going to say this in advance. I have not played much of Call of Duty as well. I've played a couple of the newer zombie maps here and there, and I'll mention what I played as we move further on. But I think I'm going to hand this one to Luke, and I'll probably just like agree here and there. But I would say, just because of the nature of it, maybe put it in the D. But again, I don't want to anger. If I do anger the Call of Duty elitists out there, oh well, sorry. Elitists. I haven't played much of the games. Okay, so
well, that's okay. We'll just I'll do them as they come, and if you have anything to interject, totally just step in and tell me what you think.
Alrighty.
All right, so I'm gonna do this a little speedy since. I don't know, because why not? I am speed. I'm speed. I am speed. All right, Call of Duty 1, 2, and 3, I'm going to group all in the same. I'm just going to straight up put them in C. There's some nostalgia there, but they're all pretty similar, and they all, to my knowledge, are just campaign. I don't think they have any multiplayer in them. Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. Man, this one was pretty solid. The multiplayer was okay, but it was really just that. I think Advanced Warfare was like a C. I did kind of like the futuristic style gameplay to it, and it was pretty all right.
That's when they introduced more of like the wall running. Yep. They introduced a lot of that tech stuff. They introduced all this new tech, and which if correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe this was also when they were trying to combat against Titanfall. Yeah, and a lot of games around that time where they were trying to be these fast-paced competitive shooters. Yeah. But I think because of that, it kind of angered and upset a lot of folks, as well as within the campaign of Advanced Warfare, they also had Kevin Spacey, which was also kind of difficult to look back on now. Yeah, but
they this was just one of the first ones where like they were starting to get away from boots on the ground, and like you said, they're adding all the wall run and stuff. But I think it was pretty okay. I think it was a C tier as well. Call of Duty Black Ops, the first one, I think the multiplayer is just okay. The campaign was but dude, the zombies, oh my gosh, dude, Kino der Toten and was Pentagon, was that on there as well?
I think so. I can look that one up as well.
Man, if the whole game itself, like all in one, is probably like a B, but if it was just on the zombies in that game, it would probably be like A or S.
You were right. It was the setting in the Black Ops zombies mode.
Yeah, the Pentagon, I think Moon might have been from that one as well.
I believe so.
The Moon map. They also had, I think Call of the Dead was there.
Yes.
They're also, I think there was a black and white map. Ascension? I think that sounds right. There was like in an asylum, something like that. But I think Black Ops, especially just from the zombies mode, should be an A tier. I like A tier for the OG Black Ops. Black Ops 2 is S tier.
Oh, yes.
It is just, oh my gosh, it's so good. From the multiplayer, oh, so good, and all the quick scoping and trick shots, and oh my gosh, dude, the zombies is probably the best zombie that's ever come out. And the campaign was awesome, and they jumped from future and past. Oh, it was good stuff.
I will definitely say, as one who was an outsider looking in, just seeing the massive amount of hype coming around of Black Ops 2, as well as not only just seeing that, but also that's where I fell in love with a lot of YouTubers in my teens, where they did the trolling and the epic montages and the ninja diffuses. Like, oh my gosh, like I knew I could never match up to that kind of skill, but it was insane and so much fun to watch these guys.
It just gave me so much joy just to watch all that. Black Ops 3. It was pretty good. I don't remember what the campaign was about for this one. I didn't play this one a lot. The multiplayer was fun. The zombies was decent. This was another futuristic one. Had like the jetpack and the wall running. I mean, it was pretty solid. I think B tier is fair for this. Call of Duty Black Ops 4. I remember this one had some controversy because it didn't have a campaign at all.
Correct.
The multiplayer I loved a lot. The zombies was pretty solid. It wasn't the best, but the story part of the zombies, like having the conclusion to it all, and it was sad. Also, the Blackout. Blackout was their Battle Royale. They made a Battle Royale just for this Call of Duty, and it was so good. Blackout was so overlooked and one of the best Battle Royales I've ever played. I really hope that they come back with that at some point. It was so much fun.
Funny enough, I actually thought Blackout and Warzone were the same thing because I felt like they just kind of bookend each other. Like, again, time-wise with when they were released, I'm unsure of like when that all was, but I can probably double check here in just a few minutes. But again, I just thought Blackout was Warzone, because then I just saw the intense, fast battle royale kind of gameplay and just thought, oh, that's Blackout. But in reality, it's Warzone.
Yeah. But Blackout, man, that one aspect of the game like puts it in A tier for me. The whole game was good in general. I didn't care that there wasn't a campaign. I think it was good because they were able to focus more on the other aspects, especially the Blackout. I mean, since they don't have a campaign, they added Blackout. Like, I thought it was a good substitution. I liked it a lot. So I'm going to say A tier for Black Ops 4.
So just checking now, for Call of Duty Black Ops 4, their initial release date was October 12th, 2018. So it had taken some time that, yes, you had Blackout here and there, and then you were enjoying that. But come March 10th, 2020 was the release of Warzone.
Yeah, they're both very good. Call of Duty Ghosts, man, this was a good one. I played this one a lot at like friends' houses, just goofing around, playing against each other on offline multiplayer. Ghost was good. The campaign was good. I think probably a solid B. I think it's right there with Black Ops 3. Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. I didn't even play this one, but I heard it was the worst of the worst F tier. That's what I've heard.
The only thing I did actually like from this is that in the campaign, you had a robot companion. And it was actually kind of a highly intelligent AI companion. And there's a point in it where your character it's weird because you're fighting in space. Because you're basically like, I'm at Saturn and I'm blowing up starships and stuff. And there's a point where you are in space with the robot and your mask breaks. And you're slowly seeping out oxygen. And your robot buddy, basically, you and him have this tender moment where you're sacrificing each other. Not sacrificing each other, but he's making the sacrifice to stay with you in this point. And he basically says to your character, I'm scared.
And he's a
robot, and he's afraid of dying. And that was right after that your character had confirmed and basically said, you're my brother. And it was just so cool to see that tender moment. But sadly, it's really the only decent moment that I would say that was in this game. So
I heard the campaign was trash. I'd tried to watch a playthrough of it. I couldn't even get through it. The multiplayer, I heard nothing but complaints about. I don't think there was a zombies mode in this one.
There actually was.
There was?
It was weird because then they kind of like placed it in like a weird like 70s, 80s version of like old movies and stuff. And if you died, then you could go into like this arcade and play mini games. And then you could, once you played a mini game, you had a chance of getting revived unless your fellas didn't revive you first. So yeah,
Interesting.
it was very strange and very odd. But I also believe that was also when they were trying to like stray away from the Treyarch zombie timeline.
Yeah,
So
they're trying to make something different.
mm-hmm.
So I think I'm gonna leave that at F tier. I don't know. I can't see it being in D. It's pretty unplayable. Call of Duty World at War. This was the first time we ever saw zombies.
Yep.
This was World at War was good. I played it on a friend's DS. That's the only time I played it, and it was fun. And I bet there's so much more to it than what I got to experience. But from what I played, I thought it was good. I think it was like B or maybe even into C. I'm leaning probably B for this.
I will also say, just kind of like what we mentioned before about Black Ops 2 and its zombies maps and the height of its popularity on the internet, that's also in World at War also found its place, because then you even had like creative and its own custom maps that
that's
people would
right.
play.
Yeah.
And it was those were also a lot of fun.
I do remember that now. That got pretty popular on YouTube.
Yes, it did.
Call of Duty World War II. This one, it was okay. The campaign was good. The zombies was very different. They made it like almost horror-esque, like very spooky, very scary. But I heard it wasn't really all that like challenging, and I don't know how fun it was. But multiplayer, okay. I mean, I think this is probably like a C tier game. I don't know if you've played this one much. Or
that I know of the zombies though. That one kind of freaked me out because it looked like a Stranger Things monster.
Yeah.
But it was insane. But I think though I've kind of heard like a meme or two running around World War II that the campaign was good, but you can just use a trench shotgun and just blast anyone away. But
yeah. Man, I have a squeaky chair. All right. Call of Duty 4, aka the first Modern Warfare game. They remastered this maybe 5 years ago. This one was fun. This was one I played on the school bus with my DS with that offline multiplayer mode where you could play with people. So on the school bus, all like 5 of us had our DSs and we'd play multiplayer. We'd play against each other like a team deathmatch or like a free-for-all kind of thing. And once again, looking back, playing offline on a school bus, all of us being able to play, like that was so cool. DS, like, wow, what a cool.
I also remember because of Infinite Warfare's unsuccessfulness, they also would combine it with a pack with the remastered of this Modern Warfare.
I do remember that. That's kind of the reason why they chose to remaster it. I don't remember anything of the campaign, but I remember the multiplayer was fun and the maps were awesome. And it's like the fact that I think that was the first. No, World at War was the first one I think that was on DS, unless I'm mistaken. But Call of Duty 4 was good, and playing the remastered, like, it's fun. I think this is probably B tier because I think there's better ones to offer out of the Modern Warfare franchise. But unless you have anything else to add to it, yeah. Modern Warfare 2, the original 2009, man. Good game. I'm going to put this in A tier. This was a really good game, and the multiplayer is so much fun. I even would think about S tier. It's very good game. You know what? I will put it in S tier.
There it goes.
The campaign was good. The multiplayer is awesome. Spent many nights staying up until midnight, 2 a.m. being like, I don't know, 12 years old, playing on Xbox 360 in your friend's basement and just playing, having fun, doing LAN games. And Modern Warfare 3, up there too. I'm going to put it in A tier. I don't think it's quite S, but Modern Warfare 3 is really good. Modern Warfare 2019, I want to put this in S tier. This is one of my favorites out of all of the newer Call of Duties that have come out. And I know I'm going to get some controversial takes for this. I think a lot of people did not really like 2019 Modern Warfare, but I think it has some of the best graphics we've ever seen in shooters. I think the campaign was a lot of fun. Multiplayer was outstanding. We saw Warzone come out of here, which is a separate segment, I guess, in all this Call of Duty stuff. And just like the gun physics, the recoil, like everything. It was just 10 out of 10 perfect for me.
Fun fact, I also confused this with the Modern Warfare Remastered.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I just thought it was the same thing, but apparently it's a whole different game on its own.
Whole another game, yeah.
But even just seeing like a bit of the clip where I believe it's the opening mission where you have the night vision.
Is it the going dark?
Going dark.
Going dark.
Yep.
Yeah. That's a very fun mission. I think it's called Shoot House or something like that. I
I'll
can't
look it
remember.
up for you.
Look it up because I don't know if that's right. But that mission is so much fun. And man, that is about as close to realism as it gets. Like they contacted and referred to a lot of ex-military people to like help them make this game and make it as realistic as possible.
It says Mission 13 Going Dark.
Going dark.
I'll take a peek as well. But just how you had described it, I would agree. Again, it's the most realistic mission that you could get.
Yeah.
As you're like just basically
Clearing rooms.
Clearing rooms.
Yeah.
Yep.
It was really good. And I don't know why so many people are quick to hate it. I think people just love to hate games and just can't enjoy it. But I loved Modern Warfare 2019, that is. Up next is Modern Warfare 2, the one that just came out not even a month ago. And as of today, Warzone 2 will be coming out. I'll be playing that once we're done with this episode. I like it a lot. I don't like it quite as much as 2019 Modern Warfare, but I'm sure I'll like it more as they release more DLC, more maps, more game modes. But right now, it's a solid A tier for me. And I played the campaign. I finished the campaign last week, and I liked it a lot. Very good story. It was a little bit shorter, but it was a lot of fun.
Just to backpedal for a second, I just checked it, but the mission that we were referring to was Clean House in Call of Duty Modern Warfare. In 2019 Modern Warfare. So that was the one that you've probably seen online where a lot of military folks, official military folks react to it and say, yeah, this is actually how we do this.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah.
Which again is so cool to see.
It is. And it felt like a simulation. Like that was very good mission. And it was kind of tough too. We got Black Ops Cold War next. I liked the campaign. I thought the zombies was excellent, but I thought the multiplayer was garbage. I did not like the multiplayer. I didn't like the guns. But I still played this because it was during COVID, during the pandemic, and this was one of the only games coming out around its time that I was willing to play. I'm going to put Cold War in a solid B, maybe even A. We'll go B.
Okay.
The multiplayer really just wasn't it for me, but I thought the campaign and especially the zombies I think was the best part of the game. D Machine was my favorite map. Call of Duty Vanguard is F tier, no conversation. I hated every second of it. The campaign was trash. Was there zombies in this one? Yes, and it was horrible. It was so bad. And I hated Vanguard. This is out of all the ones on here, this is the worst one of all time. I think Vanguard just absolute garbage. So bad. Up next is Warzone. Honestly, I'm not going to touch on this because we have a Battle Royale tier list. I'm just not going to touch on this until we get to there. And same with Warzone 2.0, which came out today. That's it for the Call of Duty tier list. Grab a quick screenshot there.